Ladies and gentlemen, coming soon, a podcast you've all been waiting for. The movie podcast to end all movie podcasts. A podcast that discusses and critiques the best of the best and the worst of the worst movies playing at a theater near you. With a host whose opinions have been deemed as fact by your favorite fact checkers. And that's a fact. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the movie maestro, the tyrant of theater, the gumshoe of review, the man that makes theater employees and Hollywood execs shiver by his mere presence. Ladies and gentlemen, the judge, the jury, the sultan of cinema, Justin Henson. Welcome to the Movie Wire.
And welcome to this week's edition of the Movie Wire. I'm your host, Justin Henson, and welcome to the show. This week we have 4 brand new reviews, and we bring back one of our favorite young film critics, and that's my daughter, Brooklyn.
Hello, people!
This week on the Movie Wire, we will be covering Jamie Foxx hunts vampires in the new Netflix original movie, Day Shift. Owen Wilson goes from the MCU to Paramount Plus secret headquarters. A 30-year-old body is transferred into her 70-year-old self by a cheap tanning bed in Mack and Rita. And finally, the new Scott Mann thriller that will make you scared of heights in Fall. Ready for my verdict? Let's get into it.
The Movie Wire podcast.
There it is.
With just
You need people like me.
the podcast for hot and trending movies.
The Wire.
Becky and Hunter are best friends, and what do best friends do? Climb an abandoned TV tower that stands over 2,000 feet with a sign that says, "No trespassing, chances of death" on the locked gate in the new thriller from director Scott Mann.
I want them to enjoy theme park theatrical cinematic ride. That's what I would say. I would say, like, someone said to me the other day about how, like, in a way, like Top Gun showing us that experience. People want to see that, right? People want to go on that experience. And I firmly believe in it. I absolutely love that movie. But someone made the comparison. They're like, Top Gun's like Disneyland and this is like Six Flags, right? Like, it's that extreme version. And I want people to go and fully immerse in the theatrical experience for this kind of movie, biggest screen possible, to enjoy it the way it takes you through. And then I think as a byproduct, the journey the characters actually go through is one of, there's a healing journey, and it's a very kind of like pure, honest story that is personal to me, actually, that I think that is very human, and they play so well that it's quite kind of a healing experience. It's a cathartic experience that we all need to go through, I think, after the hell of COVID and everything else and everything that's going on in the world. There is a reason to climb the tower and kind of daring to go at the cinema to see it. The reward would definitely be worth it. So I hope people get to do that.
Remember the opening scene of 1993's Cliffhanger starring Sylvester Stallone, where we have Sarah played by Michelle Joyner. She fell to her death by falling from a suspension line. It is a classic and memorable scene to set up a white-knuckle action thriller back in the 90s. Now we get that scene for almost a 2-hour runtime. This is a film that isn't for the faint of heart or fear of heights, and definitely don't want to be in the front row to view this film. The film follows our main characters, Becky, played by Grace Carolyn Curry from the MTV show Awkward, Shazam, and the upcoming Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Becky's best friend, Hunter, played by Virginia Gardner from Project Almanac and 2018's Halloween. Becky goes through a traumatic event and decides to shut herself out and drown herself in alcohol and sorrow. Hunter shows up to Becky's apartment to shine a new adventure in her life to snap her out of it by coaxing her into climbing the 4th largest structure in the United States, an uncommissioned TV tower where Becky agrees to the new adventure. Now, Fall is the type of film that relies completely on the setting of the film, where the setting is easily the main star of the film rather than the cast. It's like watching one of the numerous shark attack films where we know there's a cast, but we want to see the shark. The film is rather successful with making our stomachs weak while we watch these girls climb the tower. I found myself clenching my teeth while I watch these girls climb, and what Scott Mann does in the first half of the film is create an environment that we feel part of with some clever close-up shots that can lead to peril in the environment that they're in. We know what's going to happen from the trailers that we've seen. We know what the girls are going to go through, but Mann keeps us guessing on when this will happen and what's going to happen to get them stuck. He does some very clever camera work here. Mann takes us on a journey with our 2 leading ladies as they make the climb and makes some good decisions on shots and angles of the camera to keep it well balanced on how high up our characters are and out of commission this antenna really is. This is like watching a haunted house only in TV antenna form. I felt the terror just by looking at the tower, and even go as far as saying I needed a tetanus shot just by looking at it, which is a horror in itself. Mann utilizes the appearance and environments to his advantage in this film. Mann succeeds completes the challenge of creating the environment and building tension, but the real challenge is when our two main characters are trapped at the top. This is where he loses the environment factor and tries to tie in the character conflict with a lot of up-close shot and cliche moments between the two characters. This is a hard decision for a director to make in a film, and Mann has to face some tough decisions on where the camera goes. Mann loses focus at times and decides to use more up-close shots versus side-angle shots to remind the audience of the peril these two characters are in, or the focus of the camera doesn't give enough depth to show how much of a sense of danger we are in. The chemistry between Becky and Hunter tends to lead a little dry, stiff, and emotionless when it comes to the situation. We don't feel the fear that any normal person would feel in a situation like this, and they tend to make decisions that the audience guesses they should do before they do it, and they have a lot more time on their hands than we do. You will find yourself coaching these two throughout the movie and talking to yourself on why don't you try this, why don't you do this, but at the same time you are still on the edge of your seat rooting for these two. The film does have a nice subplot and twist that took me by surprise because the writing of the film acts like almost a magic trick, where it keeps you focused on one hand, with the one hand being the environment, but the writers have the main trick in the other hand. This is where I give writers Scott Mann and Jonathan Frank credit, is that they have just enough information on what's about to happen to keep us on our toes, but keep us focused on the situation that our main characters are in. They treat us like we are in the same boat as Becky and Hunter. We continue to learn along with them. The film reminded me of numerous Lost at Sea films or Shark Attack films that we see so often. The main difference is that the filmmakers had one focus of an environment and a focus of motivation with the characters, and that is survival. And even given the subplot, it never really loses focus on the situation. Fall utilizes some smart first assumptions of survival, but this film is not without fault. The film makes us wonder what these two girls were doing with all their time they're up on this tower, when we could figure it out as an audience, some basic solutions before they could. This could be the fault of the filmmakers giving too many hints or too much away, or it could just be common sense. I don't know. But again, this isn't the type of film of common sense. This film is successful in what it's trying to do. I clench my teeth, I look towards the floor more than I could count. This is a film that's far from perfect, but it does the job at entertaining and makes you sick to your stomach when it comes to heights. It tickles the senses and emotions of being human and how we deal with fear and loss. This is truly a film to really appreciate, to be on the big screen, to appreciate the scenic views, and it brings the full movie to life. The film is fun due to its environment, lacks on a tad on the writing and its editing, but at the end of the day, it did what it was made to do, give us a memorable experience on the big screen. I'm giving Fall 3 stars. Now, before we begin the rest of the show, don't forget to check out my reviews for movies that just hit streaming and are available to rent or buy now, including the unbelievable true story of The Phantom of the Open, the animated film Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank, the B.J. Novak film Vengeance, Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, the Toy Story spinoff Lightyear, Miss Paris Goes to Paris, and Jurassic World Dominion. And you can find those reviews on my previous episodes. And just a reminder, if you haven't yet, make sure you hit follow or subscribe and leave me a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. And make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MovieWire Show. Now let's hear from our friends at Decaying with the Boys.
Welcome back to the Judgeatorium. It's Decaying with the Boys.
That's right, it's Matt, it's Adam, two comedic co-hosts that talk about what they love.
Beers, combat sports, pop culture, horror movies, and whatever else we want.
So subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to catch new episodes dropping every Sunday morning.
In the new Netflix original movie, Day Shift, Jamie Foxx plays a hardworking father who just wants to provide a good life for his quick-witted 8-year-old daughter. His front job is a pool cleaner in the San Fernando Valley, but his real source of income is that of hunting and killing vampires.
Vampire hunting is a business. Cut necks and cash your checks. Well, things have changed since you got your ass kicked out the union.
If I don't come up with 10K, my wife and my daughter are gonna move to Florida.
Hi, Dad. You're late again.
And the union is the only place that could give me that kind of money.
Your record is chock full of incidents. But he's a new man. One last chance. This is your final warning. Yank me.
Let's get cracking.
Oh, no! Help me!
Vampires just tried to kill me. Now I just pissed my favorite fucking
Hey, everybody pisses himself the first time.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you?
No, I didn't, but listen, you did. Know what I see when I see a vamp? Big old dollar sign. Hey, don't you puke in here. I swallowed it.
Locked and loaded. Doggy dog in the motherfucking...
Vampires. They live amongst us. And all they are is murderers. It's not Eclipse, New Moon, Breaking Dawn Part 1. It ain't like that, all right?
Why do you know the names to all the specific Twilight films? What? And what's your gripe with Breaking Dawn Part 2? It's the exciting conclusion of the whole Twilight saga.
Welcome to the day shift, motherfucker.
Works every time.
Stuntman extraordinaire J.J. Perry gives his first directorial debut with his Netflix original movie, Day Shift. J.J. Perry is the go-to in Hollywood for stunts since 1987. He has done movies from 1995's Mortal Kombat to Star Trek Into Darkness, Iron Man, John Wick, along with over 140 more credits over the years. For the first time go-around, Perry does a decent but a safe job with this film. The film really wants to be the Zombieland for vampires, and it really wants to be a big popcorn flip for the streaming platform. The desperation from what they want from this film comes from the opening scene to the flashy opening credits. The film's first half does a great job at building this world of the vampire hunting business, including a very entertaining scene where we meet Seth, played by the always innocent, enjoyable Dave Franco, a cashier at, I guess you would call it, a vampire bank, where Jamie Foxx tries to cash in on his vampire fangs that he exchanges for cash, then to have Seth hand over a pile of money only to take it back after fees and taxes. The scene generates some mild laughs, and it's a great introduction to the relationship of Foxx and Franco. Now, Franco we will get into a little bit later. There are a lot of new experiences for the filmmakers and the cast with this film, including J.J. Perry, writer Taylor Tice, and Jamie Foxx. Of course, Jamie Foxx is not new to the industry, and with the right film, he has demonstrated what a fantastic actor he is. This film is something out of the norm of what he normally does in the past. Unfortunately, you can feel how out of his element he is with this movie. When he is in an action scene, he does just fine, or acting as a father, he does fine as well, but then the filmmakers include some comedy. This is where he feels a little out of place. Foxx teams up with Franco unwillingly, as Franco is to document any infractions Foxx does while vampire hunting. Of course, with this kind of world, everything is monitored, taxed, just like we are today. That also includes hunting vampires and cashing in on them. Now, Franco is known to always be the comedic butt of a joke in a movie, or the background character, if you will. In this film, he does an exceptional job, and I loved watching him on screen. Now, the chemistry between Foxx and Franco was not memorable, and the relationship never really became anything by the end of the film. Franco, who I've always thought had a subtle but brilliant, likable comedic timing, does his best, but feels like Foxx wasn't giving him much to work with. When we compare Jesse Eisenberg and Woody Harrelson in Zombieland, Harrelson could still be the hard ass, but knows when to deliver his lines in a lighter fashion to help support the chemistry between our two main characters. Jamie Foxx consistently stays the same, and he doesn't match the tone that the movie is going after. And with first-time director J.J. Perry, he might not have known what contrast he was looking for when it comes to a relationship between Franco and Foxx. Now, the second half of the film is where we start to see the newcomer amateur writing come into play. You can tell writer Shay Hayton and newcomer Taylor Tice had a vision of the world they wanted to create, but introduced it within the first act of the film and didn't know what to do after the concept. So we are introduced with a conflict that doesn't match what kind of film we wanted to see, and the plot is razor thin after we are introduced to this vampire world. If Netflix wanted to make a vampire flick with a stunt expert as director, give the people what they want. There is nothing wrong to catering to the audience. It doesn't have to be complicated. Give us some good stunts, some good vampire killing, great chemistry, and just some good old streaming fun. And one goal that benefits all the characters as we lead to the climax. There is nothing wrong with knowing what kind of movie you want to make, and it won't necessarily make it a bad movie as long as you execute and make it clear what you want it to be. The best thing that stands out about this film is how vibrant it is. The film looks great, it keeps it to basic camera shots and editing that stays consistent on its looks without being over dramatic on tone changes, which helps keeps our eyes attracted to the screen. The editing is done by Paul Harb, in which he does a great job by keeping the film easy on the eyes to watch, especially during the action scenes. There are simple quick cuts, but they are done in all the right places to not throw the audience off and make our eyes wander all over the screen trying to catch what's going on. Day Shift has the right look, the right feel, but unfortunately the second half of the film doesn't take us on a fun ride, and the chemistry lacks throughout the entire movie. The film had all the makings of an over-the-top spectacle with Jamie Foxx, Dave Franco, a stunt coordinator at the director's helm, and Snoop Dogg. And let me just add Snoop Dogg in a cowboy hat. Unfortunately, the film lacks a clear vision and direction. Day Shift is an okay time to kill if you need a movie to stream, but it won't wow you or give you the cool factor. But make some popcorn, have a few drinks, and you might have an okay time. This is a film that I predict will most likely get a sequel, and if I can also make a prediction, that sequel will probably be a much better film. Let's just hope. I'm giving Day Shift 2 stars. Now, don't forget to check out the Cult-Worthy podcast with host Antonio. His latest episode, I drop in and we discuss our top 3 favorite interpretations of Shakespeare films. Make sure to check that out. The link will be in my description.
The Cult-Worthy Podcast. Your host, Antonio Palacios, will guide you week by week through a bevy of cult favorites, obscure cinema, and hidden gems. Listen to us on your favorite platforms or follow us on thecultworthy.com. The Cult-Worthy Podcast.
All right, Brooklyn, it's your time to shine.
This is Brooklyn on the Movie Wire.
The podcast you've been waiting for. The Movie Wire is your show. The place to find what you're looking for. Movie lovers, the time has come. The Movie Wire.
Diane Keaton as Rita and Elizabeth Lail as Mack are one of the same in the new comedy Mack and Rita. Mack is a 30-year-old writer with an old soul who spends a wild weekend in Palm Springs and visits a magical tanning bed, only to find that she has transformed into her 70-year-old self.
You can't be here.
It's me.
Ma'am, I'm serious.
Okay. One more move and you get an eye full of pepper.
It's me, Mac.
I grew up always feeling like I was an older woman trapped in the body of a little girl. I wrote a book.
Matt, if you're not getting paid for something, it's a hobby, and hobbies are disgusting.
And I did my darndest to keep my inner old gal to myself.
Yes, we get it.
I thought it would be super fun if we all lie down and did a past life regression.
What? You should go do it. We'll just meet back up at the house.
Welcome. Lay down, Moonchild, and think about who you want to be.
I'm a 70-year-old woman trapped in the body of a 30-year-old who just needs a minute to rest. Oh my God! Somebody help me! This is not me!
So you were thinking about old lady stuff, and then you turned into one. So he should be able to turn you back into you.
Where did he go?
We're never gonna find him.
Matt.
Coming.
Are you sick? You sound weird.
Whoa. Well, hello. I'm Mac's Aunt Rita.
I'm Jack. I take care of Cheese when Mac's out of town.
This is Mac's Auntie Rita.
How often do you ladies meet for your wine club?
Every day.
Sometimes we spend the weekend.
How are we supposed to grow old on the French Riviera if you're 50 years ahead of me?
Matt, you are scheduled to cover the Pilates event. Post pictures. If people see you at a party, they will think you're fun.
And let's reset. You know, these pocket computer photo albums are my job these days. I get paid to post pictures.
What?
Wow, looking good, Aunt Rita.
Everything that's happening for you right now is because you're showing the world who you are.
We're getting some interesting offers for Rita. Post more of my glammy Grammy.
People are dying for her.
Rita, you got a man. Well, this guy's young. He's young.
Mac, you didn't want to be old. What you wanted was to be you.
Luca, I laid down in that pod, and when I came out, I was in this body.
Okay, you're coming in with a lot of energy.
The synopsis is almost as ridiculous as listening to the synopsis of Hot Tub Time Machine, with the main difference is that the writers knew what kind of ridiculous film they were making when it comes to Hot Tub Time Machine. They didn't shy away from that and took some risks, which in the end made a creative, naturally funny film that didn't take itself so seriously. Mack and Rita have more of an issue identifying itself on what it needs to be than any other character in the film identifying that Rita is an older version of Mack. The film rushes through the beginning first act where we really don't get to know the character of Mack, to the point where we can't really understand her understanding of the world around her, other than her narration telling us how to feel. Right from the get-go, it doesn't connect to the audience other than asking ourselves how she even has friends, or why she has friends, or what keeps her friendships alive. The premise that Mac's best friend, Carla, played by Taylor Page, is getting married, and they have to go on a trip to Palm Springs, where we find Mac acting like a complete drag to the bride's wedding party. She complains, she looks bored, almost to the point in a normal social setting where we would almost find her stuck up due to the fact she really doesn't try to support her friends in this special social event for the bride. This adds a tone of unlikability to the character right from the start of the film, and we still have the next hour and 20 minutes with this character. This almost should have been a film about her friends tolerate her. It reminded me of the Debbie Downer sketch on SNL played by Rachel Dratch, who can make any positive interaction a negative.
Enjoying your day, everything's going your way. Then along comes Debbie Downer. Always there to tell you about a new disease, a car accident or killer bees. You beg her to spare you, Debbie, please, but you can't stop Debbie Downer.
The film absolutely banks on the always watchable Diane Keaton and relies on her to carry the whole movie, and for the most part she does, except for a ridiculous Pilates scene that's unnecessary. Her charisma and acting talent is still a pleasure to watch in this film. There's a scene in the film where Keaton is desperately trying to get her 30-year-old body back and includes drinking mushroom tea. This is one of my favorite scenes of the film, especially when she starts to have a conversation with her dog that's voiced by Martin Short. But again, that scene goes on way too long and overstays its welcome. Even though the writing and material isn't there to support her, Diane Keaton does the best she can. Now, there's a point where actors and actresses come to a point of their success in their career where they just want to do fun projects, and there's nothing wrong with that. Diane Keaton is Diane Keaton, and she has well deserved the right to do so, and she could be in a remake of Biodome, replacing Pauly Shore's character, and I would still watch it. And actually, I would really like to see that movie. Anyway, the film is held together by Keaton's likability on screen, but even her craft couldn't save the writing of this film. The film was written by Madeline Walter and Paul Welsh from the TV show Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and it shocks me with such a creative team that this is the best material they can come up with. There is no real laugh-out-loud scenes or dialogue. These two writers didn't connect with the material that they were writing. It's almost like they had their own grandmas whispering in their ear that they couldn't write that, or it's not funny. But how could two young actors write proper material that they can't relate to? They are completely out of touch with how to balance a comedy with getting older and the spirit of enjoying life. This film had potential, and I kind of think of the films Out to Sea starring Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau, how they had fun with the age, they celebrated it, and they made it funny. They don't find the humor in the situation, they find all negatives and throw in jokes that are soft landing here and there. The shining light of the film was with a group of seniors played by Loretta Devine, Amy Hill, Wendy Malick, and Lois Smith, whose chemistry together is fantastic, but they don't have enough screen time. All the characters that we actually enjoy in the film, they limit, and they have limited lines. These amazing ladies are underutilized in this film. When they are on screen, they deliver a likability that the rest of the film lacks, and the filmmakers should be ashamed of themselves for not realizing this during filming. The film throws in a social media subplot that again feels thrown in just to keep the film going and is underutilized. We do see a scene with all the amazing actresses as Keaton explains to Devine, Hill, Malick, and Smith on how Instagram works. And again, this scene is underutilized. This would have been a hugely comedic event, but they don't focus on it. With how fast the world of social media moves and the difficulty that some of us have adjusting to this world, could have been a great classic scene. But Keaton just explains Instagram and all of a sudden our group of ladies understand. That's not the real world, folks. Let's be real. Those that have tried to define technology to our 70-plus crowd, it does not take under 2 minutes, and this could have been comic gold. The film's climax is a big mix of emotion where, if it wasn't for Devine, Hill, Malick, and Smith, the film would have been a complete waste of time and talent, and a complete pile of garbage. They have some simple dialogue towards the end where it does strike some emotion of our best years, and a nice ending speech, but by the time that happens, it's lost too much credibility of what it wants to be. This is a film that has no clue what it wants to be and no clue where it wants to go or why it was written. Mack and Rita was a complete waste of talent, but to be fair, it wasn't for Keaton, Devine, Malick, and Smith, I would have given this film 1 star. But because the joy is seeing them on screen and delivering some good performances, that will be the only thing I remember from this film. I'm giving Mack and Rita 1.5 stars. And Brooklyn, I know you wanted to see this movie, and I willingly took you to go see Mack and Rita. I cannot wait for your critique of this film. And Brooklyn, welcome to the show.
Heyo.
Heyo. So, Brooklyn, what did you think of Mack and Rita?
Well, first of all, you pretty much said everything was negative.
No. I did not say everything was negative. I said I liked the group of old ladies.
Okay, 1 or 2 things.
And that's why I'm giving it 1.5 stars. Because the only thing I enjoyed about this movie, other than your company, was the group of old ladies.
Why not just give it half a star?
Because I like the old ladies.
Okay, so just give it half a star for the old ladies.
I did. I was going to give it 1 star, then I threw in half a star.
Then you're saying you actually liked it because 1 star still counts.
You know this was out of 4, right?
Yeah, but still.
So I gave it 1.5 stars. It was half a star from being absolute terrible.
Okay.
What? You give me your critique.
Okay. Well, first of all, the movie was actually pretty good. I think it could do a little bit better, but I mean, the guy literally liked an old woman.
Don't give any spoilers away. No, but people may have not have seen the film.
True, but still.
What did you like about it?
Well, I liked that, actually, this is a really funny part. Mac and Cheese, the dog, and the girl named Mac.
Okay, that was
Mac
kind of
and
clever.
Cheese.
So Mac has a dog named Cheese.
Yes.
Mac and Cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
Okay. So now this is, I think I showed you your first Diane Keaton movie, which was, I think, Father of the Bride. So what did you think of Diane Keaton?
she was okay.
You spend a lot of time with your grandparents.
Yes.
So do you think this movie portrayed the older generation in a proper manner?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So give me an example.
Like, every grandma does not know how to use a phone.
Okay. What did you think about when Diane Keaton was trying to show how Instagram works to the group of old ladies? Would I be accurate in my review to say it does not take 2 minutes to describe Instagram to a group of older
It takes longer.
Yeah.
It takes like 2 days. I had to just show my grandma how to FaceTime.
What else did you like about it?
Well, I really liked that Mac was like going to like a thing, and then the guy tells her, "Oh, well, I just got this is a suntanner and not a magic machine. I don't know what you're talking about, lady."
Yeah, so the plot sounds ridiculous because Mac goes into this magical tanning booth that looks like it was straight out of a garage sale.
Yeah.
And there's no real explanation to this.
She's just thinking about what she wants to be, and then another second she's a 70, 80-year-old.
That's right. You see, Brooklyn, this is a life lesson that you should not utilize tanning beds.
Yeah. Never go to tanning beds, people, just so you know. Never think of what you want. How about that?
So go to a tanning bed, but just don't think of what you want?
Yeah.
Okay.
Besides how you want to be tanned.
Obviously, it sounds like you enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
So what would your rating be on this film?
3 stars.
Are you serious right now? You're giving this movie 3 stars.
Fine. 2.5.
No. If you enjoyed the movie, it's your.
It's more like 2.5, honestly.
Okay. You liked the comedy,
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
You thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I did see
it's
you.
better than old dad jokes.
Wait, are you talking about my dad jokes?
Yep.
Wait, I just gave this movie 1.5 stars, and you're saying this movie was funnier than my jokes?
Yep.
Wait, what? No. There is no way this movie is funnier than my dad jokes.
It is.
Losing points with me, kid. All right, so you're giving it 2.5 or 3 stars.
2.5.
You think now this one is more of the preteen.
Yeah.
There are some adult themes of this. Obviously, it's not intended for little kids.
There's some bad words.
Yeah. What would be the age you would appropriate this with?
If you're like 10 or 9.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, this movie does have some adult themes. I would probably say 11 to 13 would be enjoyable for kids. There are probably some conversation pieces parents should have with their kids after the film. But I think for what it is, for the most part, an innocent film. But it is not a good film.
To you.
To me, that is right. All right, so Brooklyn, we have one more movie to cover on the show.
Yep.
So I, again, am giving Mack and Rita 1.5 stars, and my darling daughter is giving it 2.5.
Yep.
You ready for the next one? See if we agree?
Yep. Why not?
All right.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, let's get into it. It gets so hard to keep track and even have time to read all the trending topics on the web. Now there's a new app to help with all of those problems. Newsly is an audio app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time in the history of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable. Browse articles from topics you choose and start playing. You can follow any topic as specific as you like, from sports, science, to Bitcoin. You can even follow Kardashian. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you out loud. And guess what? They have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. The Movie Wire is now a featured podcast on the Newsly app. Download and use Newsly for free now. The link will be in the description of this episode. You can also use one of my promo codes that you will find in the description as well to get you a 1-month free premium subscription. Stop scrolling, start listening, download Newsly today. New to Paramount Plus comes this new family film about a kid named Charlie, played by Walker Scobell, and a group of his friends that discover the headquarters of an Iron Man ripoff called The Guardian, played by Owen Wilson. When villains attack, they must team up to defend the headquarters and save the world.
Hey, Lizzie with my 9 o'clock.
Sorry about the game, but we're gonna have fun tonight.
Let me guess, another IT conference?
I'm gonna be back in a couple days, tops.
Hey, Mom. Dad has a work emergency, so can you come pick me up?
I love it when you call me Mom. Let's throw a rager.
What's happening?
Please don't touch me. This is so tight.
Some kind of superhero lair.
Your dad's a superhero.
What? No, my dad can't handle hot wings.
Step into the spotlight.
Check this out.
What?
I have a crazy idea.
And the crowd goes. Step into the spotlight.
Please don't kill me.
Now that's fast.
We got him.
Whoever has this technology can do anything.
We gotta save my dad's tech before they destroy the world.
We got this.
What are you gonna do? Tickle torture me?
Oh, dude, that was too long. That was way too long.
Whoa, whoa, don't shoot! I'm the IT guy. I was alerted to a security breach.
Why couldn't you tell me about your secret identity?
How am I supposed to say, oh, by the way, some alien power source chose me to be the guardian of the planet? It makes you sound crazy, right? Yes.
Playtime's over, kids.
Prepare for war.
Hold it! These things are warm.
Yeah.
So hot.
You got the winter suit.
Young newcomer Walker Scobell, who you may remember who played young Ryan Reynolds' Adam in the Netflix original film The Adam Project. Scobell is starting to create a good start in his young career, matching himself with some of Hollywood's leading actors. He now stars alongside Owen Wilson as the Guardian, Earth's new defender, which looks like a B-movie Iron Man ripoff. Now, there's a scene in the film where we see our group of friends go up against our kid-friendly bad guys, including our main billionaire villain, Aragon, played by Michael Pena. Thinking this film was coming to a close, I pressed pause, I went to the kitchen, grabbed a bottle of water, and my laptop to get ready to write this review. When I came back, I looked at the time bar at the bottom of the screen. The film was only about 50 minutes in, and I had about 50 minutes to go. The first thing I thought about was that this movie had only been running for 50 minutes. It felt like an hour and a half at minimum. The next thing I thought about was how they are going to stretch this film into another 50 minutes. So I make my way back to the kitchen and I poured a drink instead. The film has a good premise and is a great opportunity to inspire and entertain kids and adults given the cast and the plot. but the film just places the characters in different settings without a lot happening, instead of a lot of basic dialogue that the filmmakers seem to think is clever. And at the times, it's mostly mild amusing. But then in retrospect, after the line is delivered, it plays off like a really, really bad dad joke. A film that attempts to tackle adult role models as heroic and kids wanting to be that hero shouldn't undermine that messaging with poor jokes and dialogue. You need to have a good balance between the two. A film that was highly successful in balancing between these is 2001's Spy Kids and 2005's Sky High. These films recognize that the kids have faults and the parents have faults, and it lets kids believe that they could actually be heroes. It tampers with the imaginations of kids and gives it hope. It has fun with the material without overstaying its welcome. Secret Headquarters undermines this messaging to the point that it won't open up the imagination of our kids or give kids or parents something to root for. The film suffers from being overconfident in what it is, from its talented writing crew to a talented cast and subject matter that kids will eat up. Even when we see kids discovering jetpacks, wrist blasters, magnetic wands, and a cool headquarters, all the kids react to this is like they're grounded. There's no sense of awe in what they find. There's no emotion from the performances, which makes it hard to watch and makes the film feel longer than it is. The first half of the film, nothing really happens, except characters that interact with each other with dialogue that feels like you're listening to a complete stranger's dinner party. The movie focuses around the premise of our hero, the Guardian, but we know very little about him and what he does except for we see him in a few news clips that they play on TV that just describe what he does. To build sense of wonder about this super-powered human, one would think that we would have a Superman moment of seeing him in action and what he does for the world. And what superhero movie wouldn't be complete without a final crescendo of a fight? They have the perfect setting for the perfect final fight, but again, no sense of danger nor wonder. It even involves our hero and villain stop so one of them can take a water break from the water fountain. Okay, that was amusing for a split second. Until the fight starts up again, you can tell when the fight started back up, it feels like some of the special effects were missing in the final cut, or they just didn't have enough money in the budget. This film is full of these random scenes that feel off, or it feels like it's missing something. There are some slow motion shots that seem not to be slow enough, or the scene just looks unpurposely jerky. By the time we get to the end of the film, if you take the final battle out of the mix, it does have some nice character moments involving some redemption themes and family moments, and has a feel-good ending. By the time we reach that, it still doesn't make it a worthwhile time investment of its 1 hour and 45-minute runtime. It tries to be a toned-down family Marvel superhero copycat, especially given its runtime, but they don't have enough good or entertaining material to keep the interest of kids or adults. This is a film that insults the imagination and intelligence of children. The film seems to miss so many marks for the film it wants to be, it almost seems on purpose. This is a film that has all the situations and opportunities to have some fun with the situations we find out with our group of kids, and highlight a role model we can look up to. But writers Christopher Yost and Josh Koenigsberg and Henry Joost couldn't wrap their own inner child around the concept. I mean, we have Henry Joost and Ariel Skolman, who helped write and direct the film, and the man that created the definition of the word catfish with his 2010 documentary Catfish that eventually turned into a TV show. Now, given the talented cast we see in the marketing with Owen Wilson, Michael Pena, and Walker Scobell, Skolman and Juice have successfully catfished millions of people into watching this film. I'm giving Secret Headquarters 1 star. And Brooklyn is back for our second family film. I can't wait. I am absolutely dying to hear your review on Secret Headquarters. So give me your thoughts, my dear.
Well, this week you've been doing 1 or lower or 1% higher for stars.
You're very observant, yes.
Why?
Because they're terrible.
Well, it's like you don't like nothing.
It's been a rough movie week this week. I'm not, and I think you know me well enough that I try and look for the positives in film. And even with this...
You literally just said in your review that you pretty much liked it. Like more than at least like 2.5 stars.
I absolutely did not. You were fiddling with your fingernails while I was giving my review. You were not listening.
No, I was not.
I feel absolutely shut out from your life. You don't listen to my reviews anymore.
Oh my gosh.
I gave some positives and I gave some negatives, but the negatives absolutely outweighed the positives in this film.
I mean, there is some scenes that I hated. Like, why?
Give me an example.
Like at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
That made me weirded out. Just probably middle schoolers kissing.
No way.
Oh my gosh, you're so weird. You're so annoying.
Yeah, in fairness, and you're going into middle school.
Yeah, but don't you think that's kind of too young?
Absolutely, I do. You will not be kissing anybody, young
Oh
lady.
my gosh, you're so weird.
So, okay, but let's
You should have seen his face just now.
So, but let's look at it at a film. So, obviously, there's some uncomfortable moments.
Yeah.
But let's look at it at a
Especially the
film
water.
aspect. And I
then
brought up
he's
the
like-
water fountain, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like, the other guy's like, awkward moments.
And I talked about that in my review, where the movie is full of these moments that go on too long. The water fountain scene, where they have to take a water fountain break from the final fight.
The villain.
Right. And it went on too long, and it's humorous for a split second, but then it just feels like it's drawn out.
Yeah, it needs to be like, oh, this is so hot, and then he drinks some water, and then they start fighting again, pretty much.
Yeah. What did you think about the special effects of the film?
What special effects?
Exactly. The movie feels like it's missing.
Actually, there's some, but it was super cheap.
The movie looks cheap.
Yeah.
For the special effects that we see, and in some scenes where it looks like there should have special effects.
I feel like this would have been better if Disney made it, or Marvel.
Well, yeah. I mean, an animated movie with the themes that they have in this film would have been a better bet.
Yeah, but Disney doesn't always do animations.
Yeah, well, this wasn't a Disney film.
But if it was, it would have been 100 times better.
And it's so easy to do the woulda, coulda, shouldas. But looking at the film as it stands, I mean, we have a great cast in this film. We have some great talent. Do you think this was just a waste of talent and time?
Yeah.
So is there anything you liked about the movie, since you're giving me a lot of pushback that I'm Debbie Downer in this film?
Well, I think I did like one of the characters. I forgot her name, obviously.
Mhm.
But and then there's other people that I also liked. I don't remember their names either.
Mm-hmm.
It's because the movie is kind of hard to remember.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. If you found a secret headquarters in my basement that's there at this very moment,
Oh my gosh.
you will never know.
It's probably under the ground. The thing you say, there's a monster under there.
Maybe it's my assistant at my secret headquarters.
Oh my gosh, you're ridiculous. You said, oh, we had to feed them.
So
Try to scare me.
if you discovered my secret headquarters, you found some jetpacks and magnetic wands.
I'd just steal it and never tell you that I did.
No, but would you be excited? Would you have a sense of wonder about it?
Nah.
No? You would
No.
probably act like these kids and be like, oh, well, a jetpack, who
I'd be like,
cares?
oh, okay, whatever.
You wouldn't
'Cause-
put it on?
No, obviously, but like, I wouldn't care because I would be like, this kind of seems like, yeah, this sounds like my dad.
Oh, you think I'm a
hoard stuff.
superhero?
No, you hoard
Oh,
stuff.
you are so nice.
No, you hoard stuff. That's why.
Oh, it's okay. We'll just call it what it is. I'm your hero.
No.
Oh, well, I heard something different. Anyway, so what would be your review for this film?
2 stars.
See, we're not far off. Do you think
Still
kids would?
higher.
It's still higher. Okay. Would you recommend this to kids? Would it entertain kids?
Not a
younger than-
5-year-old. That's for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. Younger kids won't.
I feel like 9 or up.
9 or up. I don't
Maybe
even
8.
think this is entertaining for a 40-year-old.
Yeah, because you like actions and scary horror movies.
I like all movies as long as they're good.
Most 40-year-olds like horror movies.
That's not true. Anyway, all right, you gave it 2.
Yes.
That's Brooklyn's verdict. Brooklyn, I want to thank you again for giving us your input on the show.
Yep.
You going to come back?
Obviously, I'm the co-host.
Oh, you promoted yourself, huh? All right, so Brooklyn, go to bed.
No.
All right, you want some ice cream?
Yeah.
All right, go get some ice cream.
Okay.
Thank you, Brooklyn. And that's a cut on this week's edition of The Movie Wire. Again, thank you for listening, and thank you to our special guest, Brooklyn. I want to thank all the listeners for all your support. You can also help show support by following me on Instagram and Twitter and leaving me a review. Until next week, do me a favor and make sure you stay for after the credits of a film to show your support for those that put their blood, sweat, and tears into making a film. And make sure you support your local movie theaters.
A verdict has been made on this episode of The Movie Wire by your host, Justin Henson. He thanks you for listening to the show. You can follow Justin on Instagram and Twitter at MovieWireShow or visit his website, www.themoviewire.com. Oh, and don't forget to leave a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I'm sure he'd love to hear from you. Until next time, we will see you at the movies.